Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And this is our spoiler review for Over the Moon. Over the Moon is an animated musical about a girl who builds a rocket ship to travel to the moon in the hopes of meeting the mythical moon goddess Chang'e. So we know the film's been out on Netflix for a little while, and we've been meaning to film this review, and things just got, as you know, busy. But here we are, and since the film has been out for a little while, we feel that it would be okay to make this a spoiler review to really talk about the film in its full capacity. So let's start with from the first time we saw the trailer. I was really thrilled that they were going to be telling the story of the moon goddess, and that is a story that I grew up with, and there's many variations of it. If you really read into like the mythology of it all, there's various endings and how she got the elixir to fly to the moon and why and this and that, but the common denominator is that she does go to the moon, she floats to the moon, and it's because she took the elixir. And some of the other stuff, they kind of, we'll dive into that. But I was just really excited that they were actually telling this story, and the animation looked really good in the trailer.
Yeah, and that was something that I was really excited about too. When I was watching the trailers, it looked absolutely adorable, it looked like it was fun, and it looked like a story and a culture that me personally hasn't had much experience with when it comes to like seeing movies that follow some of these mythologies. And I thought it was really cool to be able to see something that I love, which is animated films, and it looked super cute and looked like it had these great songs. So when we saw the trailer, we were both super excited to see this.
Yeah. Didn't I tear up just a little bit? Because they did talk a little bit about her losing her mom in the trailer, in one of the trailers. So I thought, oh gosh, this is gonna get me. And I remember in the later trailer we saw, they seemed to have kind of gone, even though they had introduced the folklore, of Chang'e, they kind of went in like the later trailers very scientific with the rocket and very futuristic with all the glowy, luminarians on the moon. So I thought, this is going to be really interesting to see how they're going to blend the traditional tale of Chang'e and the modern take of it, which is like, our lead character, Fei is really into science, and she built a rocket to the moon. So
that was actually something that I liked that they did mention in the movie. There was this one part when the whole family did come together, and they all had different versions of the story.
That's
true.
To
where the auntie said, no, it's because of this, and he left her, or because of, and then no, this is this. And then of course, our lead character was like, I got like really upset, saying, no, this is the true story, and she's up there waiting for her true love.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that in this movie they addressed like the different tellings of the story, making it a little bit more kind of like, it lets you dive a little bit more into the Asian culture. I liked it. And
then so you can't say like, oh, that the story they depict in this movie isn't true, because all the ones there is that many different, varieties of it. Like there's one that I heard that wasn't even talked about, how something with the emperor who had 2 pills of the immortality, and it was supposed to be one for her and one for him, and she got greedy and took both, and that's why she floated. And because if she had just taken one, she would have actually just retained immortality and not flown. And then so that's like one of the variations that I grew up with as well. So this is really interesting. And I will say at the beginning of this film, it definitely had its, and I don't want to compare contrast, but we're going to compare and contrast, because it definitely had its up moment where I just, after the Mooncake song, which might be one of my favorite songs, I just boo-hooed. I just sat there and cried, because it talked about, a young girl losing her mom at a young age, someone she was so close to, and of course her image of her beautiful family, mom, dad, daughter, bunny. Well, the bunny came after.
The bunny was so cute.
The bunny was so cute.
Had no dialogue whatsoever.
Didn't need it.
But did not need it. Super cute bunny.
Super cute bunny, and it definitely softened the blow just a little bit to see something cute. And that's kind of why we see Fei so strongly kind of defend her mom's version of the story, because that's what she grew up with. And I feel like anyone that experiences that kind of loss, and that's something that that she finds the connection to, she's not gonna be able to let that go, and we see that throughout this whole movie. And I will just go ahead and say that now. I really thought this movie going in was going to be a young girl going to the moon and sort of giving us like the legend of Chang'e. I really, really thought that's what it was going to be. But it was just, I would say like 30 to 40% about that. 60% about how one deal with loss and the loneliness of it.
That's honestly one of the true themes of this movie. And I think they hit that theme very potent at the beginning, so much so to where I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Who's cutting onions?
Who's cutting onions kind of a thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it just was heart-wrenching. The thing is, I found that the middle of this movie was a little weak in that, and at the end, it hits you really hard again.
Oh.
With there was just we'll get to that scene in a little bit, but the way that they just had this song about moving forward and still loving the ones that you have lost, but loving for the future.
Yes,
kind of a thing.
And realizing that you have others around you who do love you, and I think you're so focused on your loss and despair, which is natural, that you don't see that there are so many other people supporting you and here for you.
Yeah.
Which I do like how they present that for both the adults who will understand, who have gone through, loss, and the young kids who maybe haven't, but to kind of give them a better understanding of why people act a certain way when they lose someone close to them. I like that a lot.
And they even had that moment. If you guys seen the documentary Howard about to where there's this moment where he's talking about Ariel and he goes, in every Broadway musical, there's always a moment where the main protagonist sits down and sings you a song about her what she wants out of life. And sure enough, there was that moment sat down and just sang her heart out to the audience.
She wants to go to the moon.
And there were a lot of really just cute songs throughout this movie. Some of them were better than others. There were some that I kind of were like her little green doll.
Gobi's song?
Gobi's song. Gobi in general, I kind of found to be a little obnoxious.
Gobi.
To where I even... the characters that I found to be a little bit of annoying, I guess you can say. Definitely Gobi. Gobi was kind of like they were trying for like an Olaf character.
You're going to take my analogy. Okay, go ahead.
And... I don't think they quite succeeded on it. What do you think?
I wrote in my notes, Gobi kind of like Olaf, but less cute. Sorry. Gobi wasn't it's not that he was a bad character. He certainly helped provide the comic relief. He certainly helped provide guidance for Feifei, because he is a citizen of the moon. He actually did serve very close to Chang'e, so he definitely was an important ally to have. But just a lot of the jokes and things like that, I felt was more distracting, and it was dragged out just a little bit too long than I would have liked. But I didn't hate him as a character. It's not like when Gobi was on screen, we're like, oh God. It was just more of I was less. I don't know. It didn't catch my attention. That's what it is. He didn't really catch my attention.
True. True. He's definitely not like a Jar Jar Binks to where you're just like, oh my
not
God,
even close.
Get him out. But where Olaf walks a line of fun and cute and obnoxious, he walks that line very well to where he can you're finding him more cute and fun than obnoxious.
Because
I found Gobi to be just a little bit more on the obnoxious side.
I think because with Olaf, they are aware of who he is and why he does the things he does. So the origins are really, really different, where Olaf literally is a snowman that was just created out of snow. So everything he learns is a new thing. He's kind of like that big baby that's like, wow, look at that. and you can kind of as opposed to being annoying, you see it as innocence.
Yes.
Gobi it's very different because he had served as like an advisor or whatever he was to Chang'e, so he had the experience, and then he was like later like kicked out. So it's different. It's not like he's learning these things for the first time.
Yeah.
The only new thing to him was Fei Fei.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not saying that his character's bad. I'm just saying
Right.
that he's not great.
Yeah.
The other character that I kind of found a little bit annoying was the brother.
Chin,
Even
I think.
though there were some moments that Chin really I found him to be a little bit more endearing.
I actually liked
that
Chin.
number, no barriers, and just runs
No
by the-
barriers. I was like, that's gonna hurt.
But I also did really like that number between
the ping pong song.
The ping pong song. And even though I have to admit, it was mainly because of the moon... what's her name? I'm sorry.
Oh, Chang'e.
Chang'e's character and how she sang her song. I thought that song was just really fun with her in it. And also, her different outfits that she has throughout this entire movie are incredible. I love the design of all of them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the outfits for a second, and specifically Chang'e's outfits. It is equivalent to as many outfit changes as Padme Amidala had in the prequels. So gorgeous, from the very traditional long sleeve with the traditional hair, with the jewelry that's very ornate, and to the embroidery. And I know it's animation, but you can tell that it's hand stitched embroidery, and it is. I'm gonna go ahead and look down on my phone for the notes, but they are designed by the world-renowned Chinese fashion designer Guo Pei, who is best known in America for designing Rihanna's yellow gown at the 2015 Met Gala.
Oh.
Gala or gala, depending on how you want to say
that would explain why all of the outfits just look phenomenal.
I mean,
and the more and more you go through this, the more and more I'm thinking about it, she had a ton of different outfits.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the very end when she's meeting, when she's crawled up into her little space,
white
but also
outfit.
when she met, what's his name, her lover.
Oh yeah.
But
That she went back into the traditional
The
white and green when she last saw him.
All looked beautiful, and
Yes.
the way it was animated,
That
and the way it
one's probably
showed.
my favorite one that she wore, and then the red being the second, and then the ping pong outfit. I love the ping pong. I mean, they're all great. So if I had to number them, that's the one I would do. And it was really cool to see her. Voiced by Phillipa Soo, sing the Ultra Luminaria song, Ultra Luminary song. It's so fun and upbeat, and you guys know I love K-pop, so it just had that K-pop vibe.
I like that
with
too.
the little glowy beans, and I just envisioned at a concert, if you had a concert, all those different light sticks going off. I loved it. When I first saw the preview, I thought, oh God, the song doesn't fit, but it does.
A part of me was worried about that too, because when we first saw it, we saw it looked very, Disney going to the moon. It had that feel to it. And then, when we saw the K-pop kind of vibe, we were like, oh, this is not quite what we expected.
Yeah.
But when we saw it in the movie, I was like, this fits, this works, this looks good. I just love the way it was animated, because it's from beginning to end. It is a beautifully animated film.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And the director for this, Glen Keane, actually worked at Disney for several years. Worked on films such as The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, Tarzan, and Tangled, I think. So,
and it shows.
And it definitely shows. This is breathtaking animation, and I love that they didn't stick with just one kind of, just like, your 3D animation, that they also did a lot of the, almost inspired by the Chinese culture when Fei Fei's mom was telling the story, and it was used on a scarf.
Yes, that's
it's
right.
It's kind of that brush calligraphy painting artwork, that the style that I really, really appreciate that they blended in there, as well as other cultural things like obviously making up the mooncake, the boba tea, the bunny, and also, can we talk about the food porn in an animated film for the Mid-Autumn Festival? Oh my God, I was so hungry. It's as if I watched a Mike Chen video from Strictly Dumpling, and I just sat there. I was like, I want all of those. Like, the dumplings looked plump, the little meat, everything looked so good. Now I am hungry. So I loved all of this, and basically the movie, and we had talked about this already, is a little bit about Chang'e's legend, but also more so about how the common denominator between Fei Fei and Chang'e is that Fei Fei kind of went up there to prove her dad wrong. And to say, if I got a picture with Chang'e and I prove that she is real, he's going to remember mom and stop dating this woman that I don't like. I don't like her.
That was one thing that I thought they brought on kind of abruptly, is the fact that he's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm getting married. And I'm like, you never introduced the woman that you are dating to your daughter before you got married? I mean, I understand what they were going for, the story that they were going to tell. The fact that her dad is moving on, he's found a new woman to love, and it feels like he's forgetting her mom. And I thought they brought that on a little abruptly.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But overall, I still think that the story, the point was gotten across. I just think that was a little bit of a kind of an abrupt turn. A
little bit. Which, if it really did happen in that way, then I would really understand Fei Fei's stance on it. She's like, wait, hold on, we didn't talk about this.
What's going on
at all? So she builds a rocket. She goes to the moon, and wanting to get the proof, and Chang'e said, you know what, I'll grant you the photo if you can find me the gift. And what is the gift? It's the other piece of her amulet, which happened to be inside a mooncake, that inside a tin box that I believe Dad's girlfriend gave her.
Yep.
That she kind of was like, I don't want this, and she shoved it in a drawer somewhere, and it was in her bag. So but let me know in the comments if that's incorrect. But basically, it does deal with loss, loneliness, and I do like that once the amulet was reunited and Chang'e was sort of for momentarily reunited with her lover, and then he had to go, and his advice was, I can't stay, but you have to go. I know, it's so sad. It's so sad. Our main character is just a hint, a whisper of happiness for a second. But after her lover leaves, she really was just like, I can't go on. It hurts. It almost seems like it hurt her worse the second time. If you look at the animation, her face, as this time he was floating away from her, and it's just. So she goes into, I can't remember what it's called, like the chamber of sorrow, the barrier of something isolated, something like that.
Yeah.
And I do like you mentioned this, that the costume designer put her, her hair is down. It's not up and kind of gorgeous anymore. It's just down, and she is in a very plain white long sleeve dress. Typically in Chinese period dramas or shows, when a character is put in this sort of usually I guess in a way kind of like a chamber of isolation, where and usually a lot of the times in the dramas that I saw, they were kind of being punished for something, but nonetheless the similarity is that the female character always has her hair long, down, and in that white outfit. So I like that the costume designer kind of brought that to an American film, because unless you grew up watching these shows and movies, you're not gonna know kind of the significance of it. So I appreciated that a lot. Fei Fei goes in, tries to convince Chang'e to say, hey, look at all your citizens that love you, and they're here for you. They don't fear you, because I thought maybe, Chang'e, oh, she's angry, she's mean, she's a little evil, maybe she's gone a little nutty because she's on the moon by herself. But that's not really the case. It's just that she feels so lost without her love. And Fei Fei essentially almost got stuck.
Yeah, because she crawled up into that little bowl too. It was
really sad. And then we had the little brother break the barrier, saved them both. Everybody is happy. Everybody kind of understands that it does hurt to lose, but if you look around, there are those who love you. So Fei Fei comes back from the moon, kind of, I guess, more in a way accepts kind of, what the future will bring, this new family, but also knowing that it's not a replacement.
Yeah.
That this new woman is not a replacement, and we kind of go full circle, and she gets another Mid-Autumn Festival later with all of them arguing again over over the legend of Chang'e, all the food porn, but instead of the bunny, who she left on the moon because the bunny fell in love with the jade bunny, the jade rabbit, she gets a chow instead, which kind of goes, again, full circle to the space dog they talk about in the very beginning of the film, which is also another Chinese folklore legend if you want to look into that. Yeah. So with that said, Dustin, what would you rate this film as if we saw it in theater? Well, if it was out in theater, sorry.
Well, overall, I thought this film did an incredible job on just being had great music. It was beautifully animated. Even though I found some parts here and there in the movie to be a little bit weak, overall, I did enjoy this movie, and I'm definitely going to say matinee it. If this came out in theaters, it's a cute little family film to take your family to, go to a matinee and see it. And I think that this movie did a great job on making the Chinese culture more tangible for an American audience that really hasn't heard any of these stories, and they may have only known a little bit in passing. So overall, I think this was a really cute movie that should be watched.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, and that was my rating as well, is check it out. I think...
Oh, yours is check it out? Mine's matinee it.
Sorry, check it out. Okay, I guess it's not the same rating. I'm sorry. Check it out. I don't know why I made them the same category in my head.
Good.
I love the animation. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love that they incorporated several different types of animation. I really like the songs. I appreciate the food porn in this one, honestly, so much. I wish they... for me, there's still a bit of separation between the traditional and the science of it. At times I felt like it blended perfectly, and other times I felt like it didn't, that it was a little bit, it just felt like they didn't bridge the connection for me. But overall, it's a fun film, and I love seeing stories that I grew up with as a kid played out for a U.S. audience, which I think is so awesome. I hope this team can get together and do another films. And if they want to do another, Chinese mythology folklore, there are so many. There's the Dragon Boat. There is the, I'm trying to think of all the ones that I grew up with. There's one, it's actually, a lot of it is around food. Oh, this is also the Dragon, this is actually the Dragon Boat one. There's the, anyways, that's a whole nother video if you guys want to know about my takes on which movies, which Chinese folklore should be made into films. But anyways, that is our review and our rating for Over the Moon. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought of the film, your favorite part, least favorite part. Put everything in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. You can check us out on Instagram and Twitter under the same name. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.